The breaking news we all heard of. Kyrie Irving demands a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. Now, this is an interesting one. It's hard to side with Brooklyn Nets, and it's hard to side with Kyrie Irving, and it's a complicated situation all in all. Now, let's break this down. I haven't done a Brooklyn Nets video in a while, and I know a lot of my subscribers are Brooklyn Nets fans. During that big winning streak, we talked about the Brooklyn Nets being one of the main contenders for an NBA championship, and that still stands till this moment today on February 3rd, 2023. The issue is Kyrie Irving wants out. Now, it's pretty simple how this all played out. The reports are that the Nets offered Kyrie Irving a deal tied to the team winning a championship. And what I get from that is they offer him a deal that is supposed to be a team-friendly deal, is maybe related to how many games he plays, a lot of incentives, and not necessarily tied to the fact that they're just paying Kyrie Irving for Kyrie Irving. They're paying him in a deal that's better for the team. And as good as Kyrie Irving is, I could see that being a situation where he says, this is not going to work for me. Once his camp saw that, they stopped negotiating and said, you know what, there's a few days left till the deadline. We'd like to be dealt. Now, I'm going to break down everything. Kevin Durant said he was shocked by the news. There's also been reports saying that Kyrie Irving will stand by his contract and honor it and finish the season if they do not trade him. There's obviously all the weird question marks. Do the Nets trade him because they can get value now before he's a free agent? Or do they say, let's try to win a championship, let's work this out, and maybe he'll stay? But if he doesn't, you get nothing for him. But at that point, you might have to rebuild the team anyways. So it's a very odd concept. I'm going to start with this. I don't usually watch this show, but I had on ESPN because of the Kyrie Irving news. Woj was talking about it on SportsCenter. Then it completely cut to PTI. Mike Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser, I believe, are the names. I haven't watched them in a long time, but they started off with a rant about Kyrie Irving being the worst teammate in history. Tony went on to say that he believes that he should only play sports like tennis and track and all these things, and that he's the absolute cancer and the worst teammate in sports history. Now, I thought that was a little bit too much. Now, that's a little too much of the ESPN hot take, bold statement. Now, do I think that Kyrie has left a lot of teams on bad grounds? Obviously. He left the Cavs, and it was a weird situation asking for a trade out after winning a championship and playing with LeBron James. The whole Boston situation, saying he's going to re-sign but chooses not to at the end and ends up in Brooklyn. And now this in Brooklyn. But I say it's a little bit of a hot statement because at the end of the day, Kevin Durant himself, the best player on this team, requested a trade to start this season. And I think the biggest problem is we're blinded by the talent with both these guys, that we're kind of ignoring sometimes the personality issues, the teammate issues. Kevin Durant ended up breaking ties and obviously doesn't have a great relationship with Russell Westbrook. Kevin Durant got in fights with guys like Draymond Green, who were supposed to be his best friend. And now Kevin Durant asked for a trade, and now Kyrie Irving asked for a trade. So they've both had kind of a history of things kind of going sour, going negatively. James Harden left in the middle of the year last year. A lot of people wanted to place blame on Kyrie, some on Durant, and maybe it's the organization in a whole. And that's where I'm getting to. We really want to keep blaming guys like KD and Kyrie, and I'm not sure if it's just an ownership, GM, whatever it may be problem, because we're talking about a guy like James Harden coming in and then wanting out last year. Now you talk about Kevin Durant asking for a trade to start the year, and then he ended up playing, and now Kyrie's asking for a trade. There was one simple solution to this. Kyrie Irving was requesting something near a max, which was a 4-year, $195 million contract, which in this NBA is pretty understandable. Russell Westbrook makes more than that. He's not very good. Damian Lillard is going to make freaking $50, $60 million by the end of his contract. Kyrie's looking at that $50 million a year range. And I get it. He gets hurt a lot, and there's been some off-court controversy, but he is that good of a player. So there's a lot of opportunity to tie this to the organization. Why are you not offering him a long-term deal after what happened this year? And let me explain exactly what happened this year. They didn't offer him an extension, or they didn't work out an extension, whatever you want to call it, when the year started. After the suspension, they obviously wanted to see if there was no off-court drama, and you can call it what you want, but it was a distraction. He got suspended, whatever you want to call it, and see how the production lasts, his health lasts, and all that. Then the Brooklyn Nets went on a 20-4 stretch, a 20-4 run, the best in franchise history, the greatest run they've had in franchise history through 24 games, a 20-4. And then you don't really work with him the right way on a contract. And I'm not just blaming the organization. Like I said, I'm just giving both perspectives. because it could be the organization, it could be Kyrie. We're not in the office to tell you which one. There's obviously an issue with both because we've seen the contract issues or we've seen trade requests by other guys, and then we've seen other guys work. So it's hard to determine which one. But the thing is here, Durant likes Kyrie, Kyrie likes Durant. They're having one of the best possible seasons when healthy. And Durant's hurt right now, so that wasn't even that's not a Kyrie Irving problem. When this team was clicking, they were one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NBA. And now you're not necessarily willing to give the guy exactly what he wants. I feel like this is the scenario. You give Kyrie what he wants right now. You sign that contract, and if the offseason comes and you're not happy, there's a lot of teams that will take 3 years or 4 years, 195 of Kyrie Irving. Just as much as the Lakers would be willing to trade for him now, they'd be willing to trade for him in the offseason if that makes LeBron James happy. And you might get more for him when he has a contract signed. So it would have been a better move to give him that contract, in my opinion. And I think we're overplaying everything being Kyrie's fault. Now, here's what I truly think happens. There's one thing the Nets did not do when Kevin Durant asked them to do it. They might have fired their coach. They might have brought in Kyrie in the beginning. They might have listened to him on a lot of stuff, but they didn't trade him when he asked to be traded. He had a trade request to start the season, and they said no, and they did not do it. And he might say no once again for Kyrie Irving. So if Kyrie doesn't get traded, what's the scenario? I think he's going to play out this season. He's going to probably play his ass off. They'll go deep in the playoffs, win a championship just to prove them wrong, and he'll get his contract. Now, does that mean Kyrie's always going to want to stay? No. And if he doesn't stay even after they win or do well in the playoffs, at least you had your run. But I just don't see this team trading him. There was 2 teams they're saying that are mostly interested, the Lakers and the Mavericks. The Mavericks, him and Luka, it could be a good fit, but what are they going to trade? A lot of first-round future picks with him not having a contract extension. Maybe they'd have to agree on a sign-and trade where he's guaranteed to be there, but then you got him and Luka. I don't know about the health concerns for Kyrie if the Mavs want to do that. And on the Lakers side, they're aging. What are they going to give you? Westbrook and Durant? They're not going to want to play with each other. I don't know what they're going to give, a 2029 pick. That's what they did with the Celtics back in the day. They gave up all that, and the Celtics got good. So maybe they get one of those scenarios. But at the end of the day, I don't know if there's going to be somebody that comes with the right package for them. So you might as well re-sign this guy and get the right package in the offseason, or finish the season and just let him walk and see what happens. The interesting part here, too, is teams are now calling for Kevin Durant because they want to know, does this mean Durant might want out? Does this mean Durant has some issues if Kyrie goes and they're both available and it's just a burn it to the ground type of situation? That we're going to find out. And I'll keep you all updated on this channel because to me, this is super fascinating. Another year, another issue with Kyrie Irving, another issue with a Kevin Durant teammate, another issue with the Brooklyn Nets. This team's kind of cursed right now. Just as they got super hot and were about to win so many damn games and they were climbing up the standings, of course, more injuries happened. It's just bad luck at this point. This franchise has had some bad luck. And I don't know what's going to happen here. LeBron James tweeted the 2 eyes of a crown after the trade request. So he's going to be pushing to make a trade for him. But I just don't know if it's happening. My main prediction is he stays in Brooklyn. And then the offseason just depends on what happens in the playoffs. Do they make it deep in the playoffs? Probably gets an extension. Does he not? Then he's probably out, and you get nothing for him. So it's going to be a very, very odd situation long-term here for the Brooklyn Nets. But I guess we'll just stay tuned and keep you posted. Comment what you think. Who do you think the issue is? Kyrie, the organization, Durant as a teammate, or is it just a clusterfuck and we don't really have an answer? Let me know, and we'll be back soon. Sammy on tap. Please like and subscribe. It means the world to me, and we'll be back.